Hey everybody, welcome to the O Forum. This is episode 15. My name is Andrew June Donovan, and I have an amazing guest with me. This is my dear friend and fellow doTERRA Diamond, Jessica Roberts. Jessica is an incredible success coach. She has super awesome programs that she offers. Some of them are for free, right?
That's right.
And we'll talk about how you can tune into her stuff later on. But she has such a cool perspective. Good to see you guys hopping online. Hi, Alana. And thanks for your patience, by the way. We were filming some stuff for a project that's going to be coming out soon. And
it's good stuff, guys.
It is good stuff. Jess is in it. Hi, Kimberly. Good to see you. Good morning, Andrew and Jessica.
Hello.
Is she one of yours?
No. Nice to meet you, Kimberly.
Awesome. So, okay, we were having a good conversation last night about like what the mindset that is different between people who are really successful and people who like basically have a lot of excuses and don't ever really take off, right?
Right.
And so some of the things that we were talking about are like when people say, oh, if only my upline did this different, or if only my spouse supported me, then I could be successful, or what else?
Well, I think those are, I mean, we have excuses or reasons why we aren't where we want to be of all kinds. Like, I have lots of little kids, or my kids are in grade school, or my kids are in high school, or I'm a grandma, or it's winter and I'm cold and I don't function as well, and
right.
I mean, anything.
I just got diagnosed with a thyroid disorder.
Yeah, so we have, I mean, extreme things that are there maybe feel like more of a hindrance.
Yeah.
Maybe you do have a partner that's not supportive. I think that's a hard thing to deal with, or we hear that a lot, the upline thing.
Oh, and the partner thing too. Like a lot of us. I mean, you guys in the comments, we're gonna spend like 5 seconds on this because I don't want to energize a lot of the stuff that we don't want. But write in the comments what some of the pain points are, right? But the partner thing, that's a big one, I think. People say, oh, like my spouse isn't doing this with me, or I don't have support because I don't have a business partner like you do, things like that.
Yeah.
But you didn't though. So you did it yourself.
Yeah.
So I want to hear, will you share with us just a little bit about your story about, I mean, because, you know, like your transition from being in an unhealthy relationship, that point where you realized that it was up to you, and then what you did going forward.
Sure. Oh, I didn't know you were going to say this.
Well, it's an
great.
inspiring story.
I'll look at you guys instead of Andrew. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess a little bit about my doTERRA story is I took a trip to London. That's really where it all happened. I was already doing doTERRA, and I was in a pretty unhealthy relationship and trying to sort out my life, and I took this trip to London thinking it would just be this like fun, relaxing trip by myself. I was a photographer, so I took my camera and it was all exciting. And when I went there, it was actually more of this brutal wake-up call that I was there in this city that I had dreamt about going, and I realized how off track my life was because I was putting responsibility for my life on everybody else. I was letting my happiness, the success in my business be contingent upon the quality of my relationship at the time, or on so many other things that were outside of my control. And so it was this brutal wake-up call that I wanted to get back on track and take responsibility for my own life, because in doing that, although that would hurt a little bit because my life was so off course, that was the only way to bring about change. And so from doing that, then I had a whole bunch of other things come up that again could be valid excuses, being a single mama of 3 kiddos, you know, going through transitioning out of a relationship and having, you know, different things to sort out. But it was that key piece that I figured out in London that if I wanted anything to be different, and if I really, really wanted to live a life that I loved, I had to take responsibility for my life. And if I wanted my business to look how I had always dreamt about my business looking, I had to take responsibility for it and no longer blame, even just a little bit, that lack of what I was seeing in my business on my circumstance, on my relationship, or on somebody else. I had to take responsibility for it, all of the responsibility myself.
I love this. I mean, because how many of us have some kind of story to explain away our lack of success, right? In fact, do you guys remember there's that quote from that passage from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? And he says there's a difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. Unsuccessful people have what they consider to be airtight alibis to explain away their lack of success. Right?
And it's so true. We laugh because we can relate.
Yeah.
We've all done that in some degree.
Right. Well, so Vanessa says not enough time is a big one. Janet says too busy, other job, etc. I mean, and the tricky thing about these stories is that they're usually true. Like, maybe you have a spouse that, like, really puts down your oil club that you're in and makes fun. I mean, because you did, right?
Yeah, I mean, without going too much into that, I think that it's yeah, you can have situations where there's a legitimate person who isn't supportive of what you're doing. Or like when you talk about not having enough time or having another job, like as a single mom, no one would fault me for saying, hey, I'm too busy, or I'm on overload just handling daily life. I don't know if I can make my business work. There's truth in what our excuses are, but we have to realize that they are just excuses. And part of what I valued from our conversation last night is that at the end of the day, if you didn't do what you're going to do in your business, it doesn't matter the excuse. You didn't do what you were going to do because you didn't do what you were going to do. And we can say all day long all the reasons why and point to the excuses, but that doesn't help us at the end of the day. It's just, it may be valid, it may be a real thing that we're dealing with, but we can still choose to respond differently.
You know the adage, like, you can be right or you can be happy? It's kind of like, I think that
no,
that
I'm
kind
right
of...
and happy.
She is. You just got a lot of thumbs up and hearts. Hey, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, hi!
So I feel like that really applies here. It's like you can have your story or you can be happy. Because sometimes I think that we spend so much energy defending our story. Because like I am a single parent, or I really have another job that takes up all my time, or I actually am really stressed out. And that may be true, and I can spend all of my life defending that truth, or I can go out and like pursue what's actually going to make me happy. And you can't really have both. Would you agree with that statement?
I would. I think it's challenging though, because there's that disconnect, because in order to be less attached to your story and create what you want, you have to take responsibility for how you're showing up. And that means accepting your situation for what it is, but then you have to take responsibility for how you've been showing up and how you've been reacting and how you've been letting it run your life or rule your life. And that's the hard piece. I think that's why we want to defend our story so much, because that responsibility piece, that hurts. It's a brutal wake-up call sometimes.
Well, Jeff and I call this pivoting, and this is a technique that has been super valuable to us. Hey, Jill, good to see you. So pivoting is where you acknowledge something that isn't working for you, right? So all the stuff that we've listed already on this call, and then you quickly, instead of sulking in it or, wading through the mud like so many people do, which just keeps you stuck forever and ever, instead you pivot directly off of it and you say, okay, I just noticed that I don't have enough money in my bank account and my spouse makes fun of my essential oil business and I'm not the rank I want. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pivot off of that in a direction that actually is somewhere that I want to go. Because you're always moving, right? We sometimes use the word stagnant, but you're always moving. You're like moving in the direction of what you don't want or in the direction of what you do want.
You're not actually staying stuck.
Yeah.
Getting closer to what you want or further away.
Right. It's like time is always moving. You don't ever freeze time. And so how are you using your time? So, okay. What did someone just left a comment here? Definitely kids and schedules. Right?
These are things that's where if you have an excuse, and I don't mean to say that to invalidate any emotions around it. I know firsthand how these excuses can be a very emotionally charged, I guess is the right word. But that's where if you notice something that's holding you up, that's your chance to grow. So something like that with kids and schedules, oh, sister, I get that. And then you think, okay, this shows me that this is an area where I get to grow. I need to get support. I need to read books. I need to learn from other people what they did to schedule their time with a busy schedule with kids to make their business work. Mm-hmm. Because the people that look in doTERRA, the people that are at the top ranks aren't people that have like no kids and no busy schedules or whatever. It's not like that they've had this life where the only thing they have to worry about is building their business. They've learned skills to manage their time properly. So that's what I view excuses as now, as an empowering awareness of what I need to increase my skill set, of where I need to increase my skill set.
Yeah, and you guys may have seen that story in the Leadership magazine, the one that came out 2 versions ago. It was, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. The picture is her dancing in the field with her husband, and she just hit Presidential Diamond. Shoot, and I sent her a congratulatory message. Anyway, in her article, she said...
Maybe someone will know.
Write in the comments if you know who it is. Anyway, it's a cute picture. He's twirling her, and they're standing in a field, and anyway, so...
I bet they have that framed in their house.
Her whole thing was, we had to skill up at every single rank. But you know what even precedes skilling up? Like, the whole point of this conversation. So, we put a blank in it. You have to take blank in order to succeed in your business. 100% responsibility. That's the point of it. And I think one of the most valuable things to understand about that is it's not a tangible, measurable thing. It's a totally internal thing. And when you've done it because you can feel it. Like, there's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. And the results outside of you are really easy to recognize when you haven't done it. right? Because you've got all of your what was the phrase Napoleon Hill said that I just mentioned?
Airtight
alibis to explain away your lack of success. But when you have that internal shift and all of a sudden it clicks that you're the one that's in power, you're the one that controls your destiny, you're the one that changes your point of attraction, and from an internal perspective, independent from anything that's going on outside of you, you can make that beginning shift, and then all of a sudden all the other pieces start falling into place. That's cool. That's what you did.
Mm-hmm. I think when you have taken that 100% responsibility, you feel that pain of it, you know, that brutal wake-up call, but then right along with that, you feel that empowerment. Wait, if I get to create my life, that's really exciting. I'm not going to give that power, but you can't just give away and blame people for when things aren't working how you want and then expect to create the life that you do want over here. It's an all or nothing thing. You have to have 100% responsibility, or you are just letting life kind of run its path and you're creating by default instead of intention.
Well, and that's the illusion that so many entrepreneurs get stuck in. We think if my external surroundings will be such, then I can pursue my dreams and I can be successful.
Right.
Does it ever actually happen?
No, I think that we get caught up in that cycle for a lifetime. If we're caught up thinking, oh, when my kids are this, or when I have a handle on that, it's that getting ready to get ready mentality. And you will be spending your whole life getting ready to be ready to build the business of your dreams, and getting ready to be ready to live your dreams in all regards, not just even in your business, in your life too.
Yeah.
And you can't wait for that. Don't wait for that day.
Don't wait.
Your life will end.
Well, the day doesn't exist.
Yes.
Has anyone ever read a motivational book where the author says, one day I woke up and my finances were in order and I had a supportive spouse and my boss at work was nice to me and everything was set. So then I pursued my dreams from that day forward, right?
No, it happens the other way around.
Right.
Where you're going through that trusting process of taking those steps, that aligned action. And then I think you really do have that day where you can have a moment of reflection and think, wow, my life has changed. I compare with how I feel on a regular basis compared to when I went to London and had that wake-up call. And I would say, wow, things have really transformed in my life. But it didn't just happen. That was because I had to do the hard stuff all along the way to get those results. And I continue to do the hard things. I love what you said, though, about that pivot piece, because it is kind of like this. It can be this theory that's out there like, oh, okay, 100% responsibility. What does that look like? And it's doing that pivot thing. I call it course correcting, little by little, over and over, that then generates this overall makeover of yourself, of your mindset, and of your experience in life. So if this is brand new to you and you're thinking, how do I start taking responsibility? Start doing that pivot. Course correct when you can tell you're playing the blame game, that something's not going your way, and so you're wanting to blame everybody else and all your situations in life, all the circumstances, and instead, okay, this is on me. At the end of the day, this didn't happen because I didn't do it. It doesn't matter the circumstance, but just those little pivots compounded over time make a big difference.
Did you see Shannon's question here? She said, what is the first step to pivot? Just do it. It's easier said than done some days. For all of us, it's easier said than done some days.
No, it's so easy for me.
Okay, so you're in London, and step one, Shannon, she had an awareness, right?
Awareness. You have to, that's why I call it, I know I've said this so many times, but that's why it was a brutal wake-up call, because it was an awareness that I could no longer deny. My life was at a point where I could not carry on with it being how it was, but then right along with that was the awareness that, hey, I've got to take responsibility for how I'm showing up. So awareness in and of itself is beautiful. It's healing and it propels us forward. So being here on this call today, allow this to be your moment of awareness if you haven't had it already, that, okay, where can I take responsibility for my life that I'm not right now?
Absolutely. Shannon, if you want an exercise, I was actually reading Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy yesterday, and he reminded me of this exercise that Earl Nightingale from, what was he, in the 50s or something? He's way old.
Sounds like it, that name.
Earl Nightingale. Anyway, he was...
Sorry if your name's Earl.
He had this Jeffrey's middle name is Earl.
Oh, really?
That's what the E's for, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jeffrey
I
Earl
love you,
Donovan.
Jeffrey. That's very, vintagey.
Vintagey. So here's the exercise that you might want to try, Shannon. After you've had, the awareness precedes everything. You have to, and you don't, just so you know, you don't have to hit a crazy low point to have that awareness.
Please don't.
No,
you don't have to be.
Pivoting can happen when you look at your life and realize, this is really good. I want more of this. And you take another step in the right direction. right?
It doesn't have to hurt. Let it be easy if it's already easy.
Yeah, exactly. So then when you're ready to take action, you might try this exercise. It's kind of cool. You pick something that you want to make some course corrections in. Like maybe it's, okay, well, I want to start enrolling personally at least. Like maybe I don't have a flourishing team with amazing leaders. What's the first thing I can do? I can start enrolling myself. So you take a piece of paper, you write, how can I start enrolling personally? And then the exercise is this. You list 20 reasons or 20 ideas, and you force yourself to keep going until you're at 20, because the first few will come really easily. But what happens is you start milking your creative juices, and that awareness that you began with, it starts to formulate itself into something that you can actually take some tangible action with. And sometimes people ask questions like that, Shannon. You know, like you say, just do it. And usually when I hear that question, I think, okay, this is someone that says, I get the direction that I want to go, but I'm not sure what steps to take. Your steps will come to you as you allow your creativity, as you allow your inner being to talk to you. And that's what this exercise does.
Yeah, the exercise, I would say the awareness, what's so cool and healing about it is it creates this connection within yourself. So you're no longer creating this disconnect, this numbness between like how you're operating in life and your inner self. That's what all these exercises really are about, because you have all the answers, as fluffy and silly as that sounds, they are within. And so doing something where you're writing down and like getting those creative juices flowing, then all of a sudden you're empowered because you know what you can do. How many times have we looked at our organization and said, oh, I'm not this ranked because my builder's X, Y, and Z. My builder's X, Y, and Z. They don't listen to me. They want whatever. They want whatever. Okay. Let's break it down. At the end of the day, I'm not the rank I want to be because I'm not the rank I want to be. Or my team doesn't look like this because my team doesn't look like this. What can I do about it? And cancel to all of that. That was sounding like real negative affirmations. I was using that strictly as an example. The universe is always listening. No, but now that I've got silly, so I lost my train of thought a little bit. I think that's a really common thing in this business, where we think that we're held hostage to our organization or to what our current builder's reality is. But really, we got to remember that we can, even in our business, influence it by taking responsibility of how we can show up. And that's a great example as far as an actual practical application in doTERRA is personally enroll. You know, then you're not held hostage to your placements or your builders or anything like that. How can you show up? What can you do to create a bigger influence in your team instead of playing the blame game or saying that you can't be a rank because of so-and-so or the way this builder is, or no one will listen to you, or there's a fight or something like that. You know, those are just excuses. They might be emotionally charged. Set them aside and take responsibility for what you can do.
Well, and I think that most of us have gone through at least a few times in our business where we realize, okay, the most crucial thing that I can do right now is go enroll people myself. I mean, I've heard so many times when people say, oh, I don't have those, I'm not the person that got lucky with that insane builder that enrolls 50 people a month like that girl does, you know? And we always think, well, if I had amazing leaders, the whole key is take 100% responsibility. You be the amazing leader.
And that energy trickles down, too. Yeah. If you want to have influence, you can't go, like, hound your team and yell at them to enroll people. This is, like, kind of like a volunteer thing. You can't, like, hire or fire people, really. Yeah. That's kind of the cool thing about this. But if you are showing up in a certain way, that's going to create an influence within your team and within your organization, which is going to be really powerful. And then you don't have to live life feeling frustrated. I mean, aside from all the great, like, business things that you'll see and the success you'll see there, you're going to feel happier. And I'm all about like creating a life I love and feeling happy more of the time, all of the time. And having responsibility for your life allows you to feel that happiness, that joy, that contentment. And it is the best way to go about expanding your business.
Well, and you're such a good example of this too. Like last night, we weren't just talking about doTERRA. We're talking about relationships, marriages, and Jessica is engaged to a super awesome guy. It's really basically your dream relationship, right? Yeah. And I told him last night. I said, I wish I had a video of you guys just interacting so I can study as a model of an ideal relationship. Because you do the same thing in your relationship. You take 100% responsibility for your own feelings, for your own personal growth. And do you remember what you said? You said you're not responsible for Nick's lessons in life. You're not responsible for his growing points. You're just responsible for yours. And you let him be responsible for his. Yeah. And I think that's a direct lesson that we get to apply into our doTERRA business too. Like we look at our upline and our downline and our prospects, and we're not responsible for their choices or for their growth. We're only responsible for ours. So what can I do? Okay, we've got Shannon said, thank you, 100% response to awareness. What did she say? 100%
I need glasses.
in the awareness phase right now. Oh, that's good.
Oh, good.
And Shannon, that's like, it can be like a 2-second moment too. You just realize, boom, it's time.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
Really, that's why I say, like, let this video be your awareness. You don't have to go to London and have this, like, brutal, like, emotional trip that, like, isn't what you want in order to, like, wake up. That's just where I was, and I'm grateful for it. But now, like, our moments of awareness can be let it be easy. Let it be as simple as a video that kind of wakes you up.
Let's see, Christine said, positive aspects journal. You know that I love that. That's actually have mine in my bag here. I'm here at Jess's house in Boise, but I always bring my... Boise. I always
All
bring
you
my
Boise
positive
people
aspects.
listening know I had to correct him.
Oh, really?
Oh, Boise people are very particular.
Oh.
It's an S, not a Z.
Boise.
Boise.
Huh. I'm sorry. So I always bring that journal with me. Oh, they're laughing. They think
they like it. They're from Boise. They know. They know.
So you guys, for those of you guys that tune in later, go ahead and type any questions that you have. I love the questions that you guys leave in these videos, and I'll hop on and answer. And maybe Jeff, if she has some time, she can take a glance at the comments too. But thank you so much for joining this. This is a profound opportunity, and basically, you have this opportunity every single day. Sometimes people look at like marriage, for example, and they think, well, they've got the dream relationship, but no matter how strong of a commitment you made, whether it was like a marriage ceremony or you've got whatever, you bought a house together, or you moved in together, whatever, you still wake up every single day and make the choice to be together again. And how is that any different than our business? We still wake up every day and decide, am I going to move forward, or am I going to like stay stuck or move backward?
I think that's so important to remember. Just so then you don't have to let all this time lapse where then you have to do the big overhaul again. Do the little things every day that keep you on track. I like the language of de-emphasize what you don't want on a daily basis and focus on what you do want. That helps me very simply kind of decide, okay, do I want more of this? No? Okay, de-emphasize that, focus on what I do want. And if you do that in your relationships, if you do that in your business, if you do that daily, then first of all, it becomes more natural. You're not even going to have to put as much intention into looking for the good. You're going to naturally train your brain to go there. You're going to de-emphasize very quickly. But then also it prevents these big lapse of time where you're not showing up in your business. And when you have those big lapse of times, it takes more energy and more work and more time to generate the momentum to compensate for that. So the takeaway, I think, with this, when you're taking responsibility for your life, is to remember that you do that consistently, daily. You don't have to wait for big wake-up calls. Just make that commitment to focus on that every day so you can see the results from it consistently, and you can really experience that momentum without the stop-start that is such a hindrance and can be really taxing.
Well, and that's why I do my daily practice in my Positive Aspects book. That's my way of every single day focusing on what I do want versus what I don't want. So after my meditation in the morning, I get my book of Positive Aspects, and I write 2 to 5 pages of positive aspects about whatever. And
that's a lot more than what I do.
Is it? Well, you're just naturally gifted at this.
No, but if someone's just starting, why not start with writing down 10 things that you're grateful for?
Sure.
Or just having it be a game that during the day, that de-emphasize and focus on what you do want. That's pivoting, that's course correcting, we're all saying the same thing, so pick which language resonates with you, and just have it be a game. I love viewing life as a game. It makes me feel a lot less emotionally attached and trying to control things, and it's a lot easier to take responsibility. But then it can be you can work up to a habit of writing 2 to 5 pages a day. You know, that's something that can be really fun and really fulfilling. But if you're brand new to this and this is a new conversation, think of something that you can do that's sustainable. So maybe it is writing down 10 things you're grateful for, or playing a game for 5 minutes in the morning and focusing on what you do want. Something as easy as that. Not to take away from what you're doing. I think it's amazing what you're doing. I just also think we can work up to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us how we can find you, because you guys have seen she's got skills, right? No, you're wonderful. You have such a healthy perspective, and you have the vernacular that people really connect with easily, and you're great at meeting people where they are. So so share with us where people can find you on Facebook and what kind of programs.
Okay. So for network marketers, I have it's a free group that you can be part of. It's called Attention Network Marketers. And I think it's facebook.com/groups/Attention Network Marketers. And so you can just request to join and I'll add you in. There's tons of videos in there of just things that are on my mind, things that I've learned, things that are coming up for me. And affirmations that you can download from there. They're just free offers, really easy like that. And then I have a program if you're wanting to kind of really up-level your life. I have a group coaching program and then private coaching too. And you can find more information about that in that group.
Yep. So Jessica Roberts, super amazing diamond, and thank you for being on the spot here with us too.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting up with my nerdy jokes.
Oh, we need nerdy here. Don't you guys? We like nerdy, right? Hi, Maggie. Good to see you. No, we totally like nerdy. So, and much love to all of you guys too. We're so fortunate to be in this together. Like, I love it. We're cross-line. We help each other. We pick each other's brains. We problem solve with each other, and we do the same thing with all of you guys. So thanks so much, Cassie. Good to see you. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining in live. Hello to everybody watching the recordings after work later on. Feel free to share this with your teams and your Facebook groups and pages and wherever you have people that need to connect with this message too. And thanks so much for being with us, Jess.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Mwah.